right, welcome back to the In Between the Lines podcast. I'm Jake here with Jeff. What's going on, Jeff?
What's up, Jake? How
Hey,
was your weekend?
I had a great weekend, but I did kind of want to start the podcast off with a couple things. The first, I don't know if you saw it, but Dikembe Mutombo passed away yesterday.
Yeah, man, that was a heartbreaker, man. I didn't even know he had brain cancer.
I didn't either.
Yeah, that was news to me, so that was pretty sad to hear. He was a great player. Everybody said how great of a person he was. But yeah, he was known for that. No, 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 no.
Yeah, I was a fan of Dikembe, so yeah, I was sad to see him go. But they had also mentioned, he was such a huge worldwide ambassador for the sport.
Right.
So that was sad to see. But then the other thing that I saw, which I thought was interesting, because we were literally just talking about it last episode, was Pete Rose passed away yesterday too.
Yeah, man, another one. I said, man, I mean, how long are they gonna wait? I guess he's not gonna ever get in. I hate that he didn't get to be here to see himself get in, if they ever do. He's well deserving of it.
Yeah, it's kind of like I said last week. I didn't think that they would put him in before he passed, but now that he has passed, I'm wondering how long it'll be now.
Yeah, that's crazy that we was talking about that. That's man. I mean, less than a week later, he's gone.
Yeah, it's wild. I literally, it kind of brought chills to me yesterday when I saw that. I was like, "There's no way." It reminded me, when you talk about something and then all of a sudden it pops up on your Facebook feed. That's exactly what it kind of reminded me of.
Right, yeah. Yeah, man, that was something, man. It's life is short, man, so you got to enjoy it while you're here.
Yeah, he was a great player. He was a great player. Like I said, I definitely think he deserves to be in. I mean, if you want to kick him out as a manager, but I mean, as a baseball player, he's one of the greatest to ever play. For him to not be in the halls is silly.
Yeah. Them voters for the Hall of Fame in baseball, man, they some dickheads, bro.
Yeah.
Straight up. I can't think of another word, but they horrible. They horrible people.
Well, going back to baseball, I don't know if you saw or not, but literally just a few minutes ago, the Detroit Tigers won the first playoff game.
Yeah, no, I didn't get to see it. I did not get to see that.
Yeah,
that's awesome, though.
I didn't get to see the beginning of it, but I know I was telling you a story last week about how they were looking like they were going to get in, and they got in, super excited, and then it's weird though. I haven't paid too much attention to baseball because, like I said, I like my Tigers, but if the Tigers aren't really doing well, I don't really pay too much attention. I'll watch the World Series, but I didn't even realize how they changed the playoffs with these extra wild card teams. And so this first series, the first wild card series, is a 3-game series, and it's all 3 games are in Houston. So that's kind of different.
That's fair, isn't it? Doesn't that sound fair?
No, it doesn't at all. What are you talking about? Maybe if all 3 games were in Detroit.
Oh my God, all 3 on the road, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, so it was big to get that first one. That first one. So if they win tomorrow, they move on. I mean, it's that quick. They play today, tomorrow, and if necessary on Thursday. So.
Okay. Yeah, I have to stay in tune. This is my weekend off, man. So I'm gonna be watching a lot of sports all weekend: football, baseball, you name it. I might even watch some UFC if it's on.
It is. I was going to actually bring that up at some point. Alex Pereira's fighting Khalil Roundtree, I think it is.
Okay.
I'm
not all that great with the names and stuff with UFC. I'm still really trying to get into it. But, whenever I do watch it, I'll be like, man, that was kind of exciting.
Well, this Alex Pereira cat's pretty interesting. He was a a champion kickboxer for years, and
Okay.
he literally just came into the UFC a couple years ago. And one of the big things about him was when he came in, the current champion at that weight class, the 185 weight class, was Israel Adesanya, who was a stud. But what was so significant about that was he beat Israel Adesanya twice in kickboxing. So everybody was kind of like, this is the match to make. This is the guy that beat Israel
Right.
Adesanya. And so he got a title shot after only three professional UFC fights, I think. And
Mm.
he beat Adesanya by TKO. And
Wow.
then they had a rematch and Adesanya beat him. But since then, he's won his next five fights. So he literally has had, I want to say, 9 total fights in the UFC. He's already won 2 titles in 2 different weight classes and has already had 2 title defenses. So he's kind of a stud.
Mm. Okay. All right. Yeah, I have to look out for that.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Okay.
what you
Is it pay-per-view this weekend or is it
it
free? Okay.
it's pay per view, yeah.
All right.
But did you check out that Michigan game this week?
Yeah. Yeah, they was in control for a while there, man, and then they just started. I don't know, man. You know what? I'm gonna let you speak on it, but they were. I don't know, man. For them to let Minnesota get back in the game like that, it was. I don't know what they're gonna look like the rest of the season. I hope they make a bowl game.
Well, what's concerning to me is, like you said, they started off strong, and to fit into Alex Orji's game and the kind of game that they have to play this year, they have to run the ball well, they have to play good defense, and they can't turn the ball over. And the last couple of weeks, that's what they've done in the first half. What's concerning to me is their second half struggles, and I think some of that second half struggle gets to the fact that Alex Orji just can't throw the ball at all. I mean, not at all. I mean, he
Yeah.
doubled his yardage total from the first week, but like I said, doubling 32 yards isn't much. But he can't throw, and like I said, he did have a turnover in this game where he threw a bad throw down the seam. He looked like he
Mm-hmm.
just kind of tried to chip it out there, and I mean, you could see it from. I mean, as soon as he threw it, it was that aerial view of the field. You could see, oh, that's getting intercepted.
Right.
Um, so I just,
Yeah.
man, it's concerning. It's concerning.
Yeah. So we know why he didn't start the season off.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said,
Yeah.
it's kind of what I heard coming into it when I first heard the rumor that Davis Warren was going to start. It was they said he can't throw. This kid's a better thrower than he is, and like I said, their last 6 games. I mean, this week they travel to Washington, which
Mm-hmm.
Washington's not the same powerhouse that they have been, but it's at Washington, so that whenever one of these Midwest teams has to travel out to the West Coast, that's a tough game. Washington's favored by 3. Um, we have
Well, maybe
Illinois.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough one. And we lost this weekend, by the way. But to stay on Michigan, I think. What do you think if they just kind of used Orgy as Slash? You remember Slash, Cordell Stewart back in the day, him and Neil O'Donnell?
I too.
Just bring him in for a play or some decoys. We know he can run. You know, and if you do have him throw the ball, maybe a short pass or something. I mean, do something to kind of switch it up, add some excitement. Just to throw the defense off a little bit. I think that's a great option. Or, to, you can't keep switching quarterbacks, though.
No, no, and
I'm
that's
sure they probably want to go back to Warren at this point. 64 yards passing in 2 games.
Well, no,
I,
he had more than that this week. I mean, he ended up with 86 yards passing this week. So in the two
same
games he
difference.
started, he's 112 yards or something like that. But I mean, he went 10 for 18, 86 yards. But like I said, most of that was in the first half. He didn't do anything in the second half. But some of the issues that I'm having too, it's not just an orgy issue. I'm actually starting to see some mismanagement of the clock and the adjustments. I can remember even last year, the year before, Michigan would start off slow. It would be like they'd let the other team move the ball in that first quarter or do something.
Hmm.
But then it was like in the third quarter, nothing was happening, and they wouldn't
Right.
allow anything in the second half. So it was like they made those adjustments. And to me, it's seeming like it's the other teams that are making the adjustments. We're not making the adjustments. And then I don't know, like I said, if you remember when Michigan got the ball and had a chance, they were driving down with like 4.5 minutes to go or something like that, and they were in field goal range. Even the commentator was saying, why is he snapping the ball right now? I mean, he was snapping the ball when if they got the field goal, that put them up by two possessions
Right.
and the clock is on your side. I mean, he was literally snapping the ball with 13, 14, 15 seconds left. And even the commentators like, what's he doing? He should be taking every one of these snaps down to 2 or 3 seconds, snapping the ball, handing the ball off to Khalil Mullings. And he didn't do it for all three of those snaps, and they threw a pass. I mean, it was like they gave Minnesota an extra minute and a half
So
on that
that's
possession.
all coaching.
That's
That all
absolute.
fall on the coaching staff, man. And I'm just shocked that Shamar Moore is not. I mean, you was there through the whole Harbaugh regime. You was there for it. How are y'all unprepared going into a game?
Yeah,
That
like I
doesn't
said,
make any sense, man.
that's what's concerning to me. And I liked what Sharon Moore said after the game. He was pissed. You could see that he was pissed and said that he has to get better, the team has to get better, and all that stuff, which is fine. But like you said, it's still. I mean, some of that, like the clock stuff, that's not. I mean, that's simple. That
Right.
should have been right away. I mean, I'm at home thinking that, and as I'm thinking it, the commentators saying it, and it's just like, earlier on in the year, I was saying, with the whole Davis Warren thing and then the Alex Orgy thing, I was saying, I trust some coaches. I trust the coaches. But then as I got to thinking about it, it's like, well, why do I trust these coaches? They're new. I haven't got to see anything yet. So
Right.
what have they done to earn my trust? And so far, I would say they haven't done anything to earn my trust.
Yeah. So I know the defensive coordinator left.
Hmm.
I'm not sure how many other coaches left with Harbaugh when he took off.
Like three or four coaches and like their head strength and conditioning guy as well. I mean, they lost. Yeah, they lost several coaches.
Okay. But that's not an excuse to manage the clock that poorly at the
No.
end of the game. I mean, Moore coached half the season last year by himself.
Hmm.
That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Especially with a game like this. I hope they get these things worked out by the time they get to Michigan State and, you know, not Illinois. But
So, are you going to root for Illinois to beat Michigan?
well, I think that man, I'm sorry about that. My phone is ringing during
Didn't
this
even hear it. Didn't
recording.
even
Oh,
hear it.
okay, good. Illinois is closer to winning than Michigan is right now.
That's
I
fair.
mean, that's that. If if Michigan was anywhere near as good as they were last season, I would still be pulling for Michigan, but they're not.
What's funny though? It's interesting that you bring that up because I had a buddy at work, George, the other day. We were talking boxing, and then he finished it off with a, "I'm sorry, your team's sucking this year." because he's a Michigan State fan, and he just kind of laughed and walked away. And I've had a couple people to say that too, but they're 4-1, and their only loss is to Texas, who is the number one team in the country. So it's like, God, it just feels different.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
It is, man. I'm kind of torn. But I just Michigan is not going in the right direction to me. It just seems like it's like they're getting worse.
Well, like I said, they're at Washington next week, and Washington right now is the favorite by 2.5 is the latest poll. Then they go to Illinois. They could lose that game. They have Michigan State at home. Michigan State's not that good, but they're not bad, and Michigan State's going to come to play.
Yeah,
So
they are.
They could lose that game.
Yeah.
Then they have Oregon at home. I'm penciling that as a loss. I'm penciling that as a loss right now. Then they're at Indiana, who is 5-0 and ranked right now. Then we get Northwestern at home, and then end with Ohio State. They could lose 5 of those games.
Yeah, that's why I said I hope they can make a bowl game. They gotta beat Michigan State, though. Please, for the love of God, beat Michigan State. Illinois is going to be tough, like you said. And I'm gonna just go ahead and say it, man. I don't think they're gonna beat Ohio State. I just don't. I don't see it.
I don't see any chance. Any chance?
No. Not with these type of mistakes. It's sad. But we knew it was going to be a change when Harbaugh left, right?
Yeah,
we knew it was going to be a change. I just didn't see this type of. I didn't see this product here. I didn't see this coming. I did.
So it's funny. When I was reviewing the Chicago Rams game, I had actually, and not purposely, made a comparison to Caleb Williams to Alex Orji, which that's a silly comparison. I as I said it, I was watching. I was like, did I just compare Caleb Williams to Alex Orji? That's absolutely wild. But I was kind of getting on that talk about Chicago has to run the ball. They have to play good defense. They have to not turn the ball over, just like Michigan and Alex Orji. And then I was like, well, that's not a good comparison because those are two different quarterbacks right there.
Yeah. Speaking of the Bears, I was a lot happier this week. They did try to commit to the run, and that changed a lot for them. I mean, they looked good. They looked better. I don't want to say sharp, but they looked better committing to that run this week. I was ecstatic. I'm like, oh man, they actually running the ball, and it paid off. It paid off. The defense was playing lights out as usual. It took a lot of pressure off of Caleb, and when they had the scores, they scored.
That defense is elite. I'm not gonna lie. They're good. They're really good. And like you said, it helped that Swift ran for close to 100 yards. I mean, I think he ended up. I'm looking at it. He had 16 carries, 93 yards. I mean, and Caleb Williams only threw it 23 times. That's more on par with what you were looking for, right?
Yes, absolutely. More of a balance. What he went from 40 something passes to 52 passes down to 23. So that was, they called a team meeting.
Yeah.
And met with Shane and Waldron, and kind of told him what they were looking for, and coach us up, open up the playbook a little bit. So I think that paid off. We got some winnable games coming up.
So Carolina this week.
Carolina, and
Yeah.
Jacksonville, and that game is in London.
That's tough. That's tough
Yeah,
for anybody. Yeah.
yeah. So hopefully we can win those next two, man, and be 4-2 uh, going into our bye week. So that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. I mean, do you feel those are both must-win games?
I do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
must win. Yeah, because after that, we got Arizona. I'm not looking at the schedule right now, but we
I
go
got it
into the
right
bye
here.
week after London. Then we got Arizona and
Washington,
Washington.
who's got to be the surprise team in the NFL right now, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, so these winnable games, you need to win them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Win them because after Washington, we don't have long before we start going into the division.
Yeah. Your next three. So you got the Panthers, you got the Jaguars, at Washington, at Arizona. Then you get the Patriots at home, but then it's Packers, Vikings, Lions, 49ers, Vikings, Lions, Seahawks, Packers. So, yeah, that's a tough ending right there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah, so they need to get what they can get now.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. This was a big win for him, I thought. And I agree. When I was watching them, I definitely thought the offense looked smoother. But like I said, the defense is going to keep you in every game. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't, they still got a lot of work to do because I don't want them to run that defense in the ground.
Yeah.
You're going to start getting injuries and stuff like that if you can't keep the defense off the field.
Right. Yeah, I hear you. Did you get to watch the Lions last night?
Hey, listen, the Lions, all I seen was the helmets.
Weren't those fire?
Man, that whoo wee. I couldn't hate on I had to post it. I said, man, I cannot hate on these helmets. The helmets was absolutely, man, they was fire, bro.
They
They
look
was
good.
absolutely fire. I'm like, man, they had me rooting for them last night just because of the uniform.
No, they were sharp. I told you going into that game though. I was worried about that game.
Yeah, they
Seattle's given
lost to
us
see 3 straight losses, 5 straight
six,
losses,
six.
6.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would have been nervous about that game too, but they came to play.
they
They
did.
definitely
And
came to play.
it's fine. Their offense looked considerably better than it's looked all year, but their defense struggled a little bit. I mean, they're missing some players on defense, but they made the stops when they needed to make the stops. But I thought Geno Smith and Seahawks did a very similar thing that the Rams did to us. They were getting rid of the ball quickly to get
Yeah,
rid of the threat of Hutchinson and the pass rush. But yeah, they look good. I was very pleased. I was excited, and I had a hard time going to sleep after the game. Drew sat there and watched the game with me. He fell asleep, but it's kind of fun
yeah,
having Drew. He's gonna be 14, but he's all in football right now. He I can actually discuss
oh
games with
yeah,
him and players with
yeah.
him.
That's
It's
what's
kind of
up,
cool.
man.
Kind of
That's
cool.
what's up.
Yeah. So yeah, he sat there and watched it with me until I think he fell asleep during halftime, but he watched it with me. He was all excited, and it was fun. Like I said, and those uniforms and helmets were on point.
Yeah, yeah. So they said that the helmets was actually a throwback helmet from back
Yeah,
in the 50s.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That was. Yeah, y'all need to keep those.
Did you see they did a throwback last year too, where it was it a blue helmet as well? I think it was a blue helmet as well. It looked a little different than this, but I really liked their throwback from last year too. I thought that was sharp too. But
Okay.
man, yeah, they look good. They look really good, and then they have a bye this week, which is good for some of those injuries that they're dealing with, and then they go to Dallas, which, like I said, I
Ooh.
know that's going to be a tough one. Like I said, Dallas is solid, but
I don't know, y'all. I think y'all gonna beat Dallas.
I think we should beat Dallas. Dallas hasn't looked very strong the last couple of weeks, and I know Micah Parsons is out
Is
for
out.
a couple of weeks, which you never like to be happy about an injury. But I mean, I'm not going to be disappointed that he's not playing. I mean,
He's
prayers
actually
to him.
on IR. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's gonna miss the next 4 weeks
Oh,
at the
did they put him
minimum.
on IR? I didn't see that.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
It just came out right before we went on.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's one of those weird things too with the Dallas is that because of Amy's fantasy football team, I have to root for Dak Prescott to do well against us, but for the Lions to win.
Oh man, that's a sore subject, man. You shouldn't mention fantasy on this show.
Ooh, you struggling a little bit? Struggling a little bit?
Man, yeah, I'm 1-3.
Yeah. Amy's 2-2.
CMC killing me, man. CMC is killing me. You
Well,
know,
let's listen to Amy's at the beginning of the season. Her projected starting lineup was quarterbacks Dak Prescott, but she had CMC. She has Debo Samuel, who's missed a couple of games. She had Greg Kittle, who's missed a couple of games.
mm,
She's had the other her backup tight end was David Nyoko from Cleveland, who has been out from the beginning of the season.
wow.
She's got Davante Adams, who is now, I don't know if you saw that news, but they're saying Oakland has reached out and they're actually looking to trade him right now.
Yeah, and he'll
Who do you?
probably go to a team that he'll probably end up in Jets because they struggling. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't try to get him. I
Well,
wouldn't be surprised if Dallas try to get him.
well, here's the teams that I've heard connected to him, and it's the same teams that I'd heard connected during the summer when there was some talk about him. But I've heard the Jets
Mm-hmm.
because of the whole
Aaron
Aaron Rodgers
Rodgers.
connection. I've heard the Detroit Lions. I don't think the Lions make a move like that myself. I just don't see Brad. That's not the type of move that I see Brad Holmes making. But I would love to have him.
Right.
I've heard Green Bay. He came from Green Bay. They said he has a relationship with LaFleur, young quarterback that could use some receivers. But I've also heard recently, I've heard Washington.
Oh man.
Now, one of the
Ooh.
teams I had originally heard too was Kansas City, which I did not want to see, but they had also said there's no way that Oakland trades him to an in conference rival in Kansas City. So
I mean, I guess it just depends on how bad they want to get rid of him. I mean,
yeah,
who's gonna give them the best package? Because
yeah.
Oakland is not ready to. I could see that if Oakland was like ready to win, going to go deep into the playoffs, so we don't want to. But I mean, I don't see them making any noise like that where they'd say, we absolutely not trading them to Kansas City.
I can see them doing that. I can see them not trading. But what would Kansas City even have to offer him? Oh, you know what I mean? It's not like they're
Yeah,
gonna. I
because they
mean,
don't have draft capital.
no, and I mean it's not like there's any disgruntled players there. So I don't know. It'd be interesting. I do not want to see him go to Kansas City. I know that for sure. But
Yeah.
God, I would love to
Yeah.
see him go to the Lions. I just don't think that's going to happen.
Of course you would.
I like Davante Adams too. You know that? Remember I was telling you earlier in the season about that show on Netflix, the Receivers show.
Uh-huh.
He's one of the ones that they follow, and like I said, he's a cool dude. I like him. I like him a lot. So I mean, I think he'd fit in pretty well there. But like I said, you'd have to give up so much to get him, and to me, that's just not a Brad Holmes move. Brad
Right.
Holmes tends to the moves that he tends to make. Sometimes when you look at him, you think, "Oh, that's an odd move," and it ends up being a good move that
Yeah.
just a regular football mind doesn't see.
Yeah. Well, when is the trade deadline over with? Is it like week 6 or 7?
I think they said like November 4th, November 5th. So it's like another month away from now. Right around Halloween.
Okay. Oh yeah. Well, I'm gonna be on top of that. I'm gonna look into that. And we'll be following that. Keeping y'all posted on what
Yeah.
Davante Adams does. But did you happen to see the best football game of the weekend?
Are we talking about NFL or college? Or just in general?
College. It was just in general.
You got to
And
be
that,
talking about the Georgia-Alabama game, right?
yes, absolutely, man. Well, that game was, whew.
That was wild. So I was watching it. We were at a pig roast, and we were watching it at the pig roast. And, you know, I had told everybody before the game
Wait
started.
a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute.
What?
What was y'all at?
A pig roast. Oh, my God. Tell me you don't know what a pig roast is.
So y'all was roasting a pig.
Yeah.
Okay. I just ain't never. Why you ain't just say a cookout or something? We've said a pig roast.
Because there's a pig roast. That's what they call it. It's the annual pig roast. What are you talking about? I don't even get what you're talking about.
I ain't never heard of a damn pig roast, man.
Oh my God. You're not country. You're not country. It's like their own pig. They like raise the pig, and then when it comes to it, they literally roast it over a fire all day long, and they cut it up and put it in pots.
We got pigs over there. This pig right here, he gonna be the pig roast pig next year.
Yeah, that's exactly what they do. That's what they do. I mean, these guys are country as hell. They got all
It
kinds
sound like it, man. Oh
I
my
mean, we
God.
went there, and there's people chasing chickens around, and they got goats, and it's like a big farm. We've gone for like last 4 or 5 years. Watch football.
Is that the
have a
only thing
bonfire.
is that the only thing they roast is the pig?
Yeah, they roast the pig, and then everybody else that comes on. I mean, we're talking like 40 or 50 people that are there. Everybody else brings a passing dish. So, like, we bought macaroni and cheese and like some brownies. I don't even understand why this is funny.
Oh, it is. That was hilarious to me. Oh, we were at the pig roast this weekend, and
Yeah.
you know,
Well, back to my story. So we were at the pig roast. And so I had
man,
told everybody there that I thought Alabama was going to win, but I expected it to be a close game. So as Alabama just kept scoring and scoring and scoring, I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
There was some Georgia fans there that were actually. It's funny.
Right.
One of the daughters of the house that we went to is a Georgia fan, so she was wearing her Georgia shirt. And then after halftime, she came out and she was wearing a different shirt, and I was like, "You can't just quit on them like that." But
Right.
we left. Amy and I left. It was 33-15, but it still looked like Georgia was in control. I mean, Alabama was in control.
Right.
And it's about a 10-15 minute drive back to our house. And when I got home and turned it on, it was 33-22, and Georgia had the ball about to score. And so they scored. And I'm like, oh, shit. This is turning into a game. And then all of a sudden they took the lead. And then once they took the lead, that play that wide receiver made.
Yeah, man. Yeah, what that was awesome.
That was crazy. It was crazy. So it's funny that how it turned out. It did end up being that one score close game that I thought it was going to be, but there was nothing close about the game.
No, it wasn't. But it was. I mean, for me to look at it and be like, "Oh man, this is a blowout," and then you turn back to it, and it's like, "Oh man, okay, they just scored. All right, yeah, whatever." And then they score again. I mean, it was just a huge roller coaster ride, man. It was exciting. That's what That's what I like seeing, man. I was telling people I just want to see a good game. Well, you in the South now, man. You got to pick a down South team. But it's hard to, man, because they don't respect the Big Ten at all.
Right, that's what you're saying. That's what
Yeah,
you're.
so this it's hard for me to say I'm rolling with Georgia, I'm rolling with Alabama, but I don't know. We'll see in due time, I guess.
Yeah, it was a cool game though. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Go ahead.
so I told you last week I wanted to discuss our basketball that's coming up next month. But so Amy sent me something and she told me I had to discuss it with you on this podcast here. Have you ever looked at the Chicago Bulls logo upside down?
Yeah, I have.
And what do you see? What do you see?
It looked like I haven't looked at it in so long.
It's funny because you got it right behind you.
Yeah. Now I'm trying to look at it upside down.
It doesn't work like that, but
No, it doesn't.
So I had seen this
But
a long
you know
time
what?
ago, where somebody had said that when you look at it upside down, it looks like a robot on
Yeah, robot.
on two turntables, right? Like a robot.
I don't
DJ.
remember the turntables.
Yeah, that's what I was
But
told. And I looked at it and I was like,
this-
okay, I could see that. But then Amy pointed out,
No, it's a robot going into something else.
yeah, going into violating a crab. I had never heard that before.
Yeah. I'm like turntables. No, man.
No,
That's a robot.
when I'd seen this like a couple of years ago, and it was like a robot like DJing on some turntables, and I had seen it, and I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. But so when she had said, she said, have you ever seen the Chicago Bulls logo turned over? And I was like, oh yeah,
Something way more exciting than that.
this. And then when she said that, and she said, it looks like it's violating a crab. And then I
Yeah.
turned it and saw that, and I was like, oh my God. It does.
Yeah.
It looks exactly like that.
Yeah. Oh man, I think that's the coolest logo in basketball. Though I love that bull.
Yeah, I can remember at one point in my high school years having the Bulls logo up in my room. I was a Jordan fan. I remember having that Bulls logo. I can remember drawing the Bulls logo. It's cool.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
it's not as cool as the Pistons logo, but it's cool. Whatever.
The Pistons logo can't compare to that. It's not even close.
I agree. It's not close. Pistons logo is way better.
Hell no. Some stuff don't even deserve a response.
Like, are you being serious right now?
Yeah, I'm dead serious. The
You think-
Pistons logo? Come on, man. It's a ball that just say Detroit Pistons in it. It's very boring. It's very outdated.
The Bulls logo is a bullhead.
But look at it. Look at that bull right there.
I know. I'm seeing a
You
robot.
see how mean it look? Come on,
I'm seeing a
man.
robot violating a crab.
It's not upside down, so that's not what you're seeing.
So Vegas has the robot violating crabs projected to get 27 and a half wins this year. What do you think about that?
I think it's low. If I was in Vegas right now, I would bet the over on that
Yeah.
this year. Yeah.
So what about the Bulls are you excited about this year? Who's going to step up? What do you think?
Zach LaVine is back. He's committed. We not trading him, so
You
he's not
certain of
going to be. That's what's in the news.
Okay.
That's what's coming out of the Bulls camp right now. They
Okay.
not trading him. Lonzo Ball is back this year.
Yeah.
So I mean, we got to see how long it's gonna take him to get in, game shape and stuff like that. See how he looks. I'm thinking
What?
by
What?
I'm thinking by game 20, we should see it. How good Lonzo Ball can be. Is he, is it worth him, keeping him?
What
You
has he been
know,
dealing with? Is it a knee that he'd been dealing
it
with?
was a knee. It was
Okay.
knee. Yeah. And instead of trying to come back, early and play on it, I think he went overseas too to get some opinions and stuff on it. So, I mean, he's ready to go. That's what they're saying. He's ready to go. So I'm excited. We need some type of excitement in Bulls country right now. So, when he first got to Chicago, we was holding the number one spot for a while before he got hurt. He's a true point guard. He was running that offense. Ever since he left, they've looked lost. We've been trying to get a point guard, and it just hasn't worked out in our favor. So I'm excited about it.
Well, they've got the Pistons at 25 and a half games. And like you, I'm going to go on the over on that, but I don't know what to think. It's a whole new system. They got rid of Monty Williams, which I'm going to be the first person to say that when Monty Williams became available, I was the first person saying, "Oh, Pistons need to go get Monty Williams," and he obviously didn't work out. I mean, there was times last year where he just looked disinterested to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I was reading some articles about it where they were saying, I do remember he did not want to come to Troy. He had actually, like when the position first came over, he had said he was not interested in it. And then I think they offered him just so much money he couldn't refuse it. I mean, they gave him over $100 million contract, all fully guaranteed. So it's like one of those, you kind of have to take that, right?
Right.
But they had said his style is more suited for a more veteran team and he's kind of a disciplinarian and strict rules and things like that, which really didn't mesh well with such a young team that the Pistons had. So they said this JB Bickerstaff is more of that, young player building players and things like that. So that they're hoping that meshes a little bit better. I'm waiting for Cade Cunningham to step up. I keep hearing that Cade Cunningham can be like a Luka Doncic or a Shai, and some of the numbers that they've showed comparing it to their early years, yeah, but just you got to win games. He's not a strong shooter. He's not a horrible shooter, but he's not a strong shooter. Still turns the ball over a lot. I mean, they've got some young talented
They got some
players.
talent. Detroit does have some talent up there.
They said Jaden Ivey's been working harder than anybody up in the offseason, so I'd love to see him step up because I was excited about him. Jalen Duren's a good young player. They just added some good veteran pieces in Tim Hardaway Jr. and Tobias Harris and Malik Beasley, all players that can shoot and provide some veteran leadership. But I'm ready for him to step up. I'm excited about him, but I'm always excited at the beginning of the season. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And, while we on basketball, my boy Derrick Rose retired as well.
Yeah, I saw that.
Do you think he's a Hall of Famer?
I've. It's tough to say. I mean, I think he had the potential to be one of the greatest players ever. But the injuries have really, really cut his I'm short, but I mean, is he still the youngest MVP ever?
He is.
I mean, I almost feel like that alone should kind of
Hmm.
be good enough to get you in. I mean, he's done something that nobody else has done. He was,
Yeah.
he was, he. I like Derrick Rose a lot. I almost wish that he didn't retire and the Pistons came. He came back to the Pistons for a little bit, but I just don't know where he would fit in. But I like Derrick Rose, so I mean, if I'm voting, I'm putting him in there. But I don't know when you look at his overall numbers if it justifies it or not. What do you think?
Yeah. I think he is being the youngest MVP ever, rookie of the year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he ran up on the Miami Heat when LeBron was there. They lost to him in the conference finals. And I mean, it was really just Rose on that team. I mean, he was a whole offense. I mean, we had Dang and Joakim Noah, but Dang and them didn't put any fear in anybody. That was all Rose.
And that's the thing about
So
Rose is he was that type of player that scared other teams. I mean, he legitimately scared other teams. So,
yeah, yeah. And
except I
listening
would
to
agree.
other players,
I put him
yeah,
in there.
yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I'm not gonna go as far as saying first ballot. But I think he should get in.
And he also, I mean, he's very well respected. I mean, throughout the league, people like him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He was a good teammate as well. So yeah, he was fun to watch. He's one of those. I mean, maybe we should do one of these episodes where we talk about the top five or the an all time what if team. You know what I mean? Players that what if they didn't get
yeah,
injured? What would have happened? Because he's definitely one of those guys that just like he could have been special. He absolutely could have
yeah,
been special.
yeah. I mean, a handful of guys come to my mind right away on the what ifs.
Hmm.
But he's definitely at the top for me.
Yeah. Did you see
Yeah,
the big trade this past week? The Timberwolves and the Knicks.
yeah, yeah. I was kind of shocked that the Timberwolves made that move. Because they was doing pretty good last year. I mean, they lost to the Mavericks, but they beat who did they knock out of the playoffs? It was an upset.
Was it the Suns?
No,
I think it was.
Denver. They beat Denver.
They did.
Yeah, they knocked Denver out the playoffs, man.
Hmm.
In the second round.
Okay.
So having that type of run and making that kind of move, I don't know if Julius Randle gonna make them a better team than what Cat did. I gotta see it.
I was interested in it. I mean, Julius Randle's a good player. I don't think he's as good as Carl Anthony Towns, obviously. But they also picked up who's the other guy that was involved in the trade? It wasn't just Julius Randle. It was God. I'm having a hard time thinking who he was. But a good player. Um, and then they got a draft pick out of it too. But I mean, it definitely helps the Knicks. I mean, the Knicks definitely did good because I mean the Knicks didn't have Julius Randle for a good
Part
chunk
of
of
the
the season
season,
and
yeah.
playoffs, and so they did that good without him. So it's one of those. Yeah, to add a person that caliber is interesting. It's Dante DiVincenzo.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
DiVincenzo.
He was included in that too.
Yeah, he's a good player. I mean, he's a role player. But I mean, sometimes you need role players. You know what I mean? I mean, they've got Anthony Edwards, who is a star. I wouldn't say Rudy Gobert's a star, but Julius Randle can be he's an all-star caliber player if he's there. I mean, I think he was unhappy in his last few years. So, I mean, Cat struggled a little bit in that last series against Dallas, but he didn't struggle the rest of the playoffs. So, I don't know what to think about the trade. It's one of those you can always grade the trades right when they happen, but you can't truly grade a trade until like a year or two down the road to see how it
Right.
works out. Because what if Carl Anthony Towns blows out his knee or something like that, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's a horrible trade. But
Right.
just on paper right now, it's definitely a good trade for the Knicks. I mean,
For the Knicks, yeah. Yeah, for
absolutely,
sure.
they're going to be dangerous with that lineup. I mean. But I mean, like DiVincenzo is not a bum. He's a good player. Julius Randle, if he's healthy and he's committed, he's a good player. I wonder how they'll fit with that thing. I always thought the Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns combination was kind of a weird combination. But Rudy Gobert is not a threat to score. He's just a defensive threat. So you get a Julius Randle, maybe play him at the 4. And he's a threat to score in every aspect, and he can create his own shot. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I think he averaged 24 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. That's good numbers for Julius Randle. So we'll see. It's a big
Yeah.
trade, though. Big trade.
Yeah. I'm excited for the NBA season, man. It's gonna give us a lot to talk about. You know, adding, basketball in with the football season. And then we got college basketball coming too. So that's another thing to get us excited about, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
I'm excited about Michigan's new coach, Dusty May. I think he's going to bring some excitement to that program. So I love college basketball. College basketball is one of my favorite things. So when you get
yeah,
that season going, it's pretty fun. It's such a different game than NBA. Sometimes it's
it
hard to watch
is.
the NBA. I mean,
Yeah.
I do, but it's weird. It's the NBA is one of those things that, like, when I go to work, there's nobody I can talk to about the NBA at work. There's literally nobody there that watches it. Um,
Wow.
they they don't enjoy it, but they'll still talk about college basketball. But I can see why. I mean, there's very little defense is played. It's a lot of 3-point shooters. It literally looks like nobody's running anything set. So I can see it, but I still enjoy it. I still enjoy it. It's better basketball players, and I do enjoy
Yeah.
watching basketball players.
For
Who
sure. For
who's your
sure.
favorite player in the NBA to watch? Like, if you're not watching the Bulls, who are you watching?
Um, I like Jalen Brown. I
Oh,
like Boston. I like him and Tatum, actually. And Steph is still fun to watch too. But nobody really keeps me glued to my seat man, like a Mike or Kobe or even Iverson. KD did, he's doing okay down there in Phoenix. When he was, still with Oklahoma and even Golden State, he was real fun to watch. But it's getting smaller for me. I mean, Ant-Man is getting up there, right? So we're Anthony Edwards.
he's exciting.
Yeah. So he may be the next one for me.
I love Luka Doncic. He's fun to watch for me, but I also have a situation with him too where he whines so much that it drives me crazy. So it's kind of weird because I do enjoy his game, and I just wish he'd stop whining.
And it
Um,
gets so bad where the team is going back down the other end of the court and he's still standing there complaining.
Absolutely. So it causes me a lot of issues with that because I don't like that. I mean, it's excessive whining, and like you said, and it's whining where he's sitting there complaining while it's 4-on-5 down the other way
Yeah.
and it's hurting his team. So I hate that. And like I said, and the stuff that I see him whine about too, which I see it in a lot in the NBA. The NBA is such a whiny league to begin with, but it's one of those things. It's like I'm watching and it's like, you fouled the guy, or that wasn't a foul. You know what I mean? It's one he thinks he gets fouled every time he touches the ball, and he thinks
Yeah.
that he never fouls when he's on defense, and most of the time he's wrong, which a lot of those players are. I mean, it's that kind of stuff drives me crazy. I like Giannis. Giannis is fun to watch for me.
Oh yeah. I forgot about Giannis. Yeah, he's exciting to watch
You know,
for sure.
I really want Cade Cunningham to be that guy, to be the fun one for me to watch. He just isn't there yet, but I do see the potential for him to be there. But I want to have that guy that I can root for and like I said, brings me to watch it. That's on my team. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, it's gonna be a fun season, man. At least I hope.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm excited about it.
Real quick, I know we transferred to basketball, but we didn't get a chance to go over our picks that we made. And it looks like I only lost 2 of those games. So out of the teams, the games that we picked, it was the Cowboys and Giants, Bears, Rams, Vikings, Packers, Saints, Falcons, Tampa, Philly, Chargers, Kansas City, Chargers, Chiefs, Ravens, Bills, and Detroit, and Seattle. So I won the Cowboys, I won the Bears, I won the Vikings, lost the Saints, won the Tampa, lost the Chargers. I don't know why I picked the Chargers to beat the Chiefs.
You said it was your upset.
There you go. Ravens and Detroit. I got to pick an upset every week.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I lost. I know I lost the Tampa Bay, or not the Tampa Bay, the Atlanta one. Atlanta Saints. I picked Saints. And I know I lost the Bills, Baltimore, because I picked the Bills to win that. That game blew me away. I did not expect that.
Let's see.
You got games that we're going to pick this week?
5, 6. So I went 6-2 this week. Oh yeah. We're gonna make picks every week.
All right. You got them up, or you want me to get them? I got them right here.
All right, I got them up now too.
Okay. Go ahead.
Well, we're gonna start out with Thursday.
Yep.
Bucks and Falcons. Who you got?
That's a good game.
That's
a good game. You know what? Spread is Atlanta's favored by 1.5. I'm going to go Atlanta.
I'm gonna go Bucks.
Okay.
Panthers, Bears.
I got the Bears.
Okay. Jets, Vikings.
That's a good one too. It's in London. Oh man. I'm gonna go with the Jets because I want them to win.
I'm going Vikings.
Fair enough.
I mean, I feel you, but yeah. Ravens, Bengals.
I've got Baltimore in that one.
I do too. What's the next good game? Bills and Texans.
That's a tough one too. It's in Houston. I'm gonna go Bills on that. I'm even though they lost to Baltimore, like I said, I still think the Bills might be the best team in the NFL.
I'm gonna go Bills as well. And And the Sunday night game, Cowboys and Steelers.
In Pittsburgh. I'm going to go Cowboys on that one.
Okay, I'm going Steelers.
Oh.
And the Monday night game, Saints and Chiefs.
I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
I'm going to pick the Saints. That's my upset pick.
We got several differences this week. Did I go 6-2 last week as well?
I think you did.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, so we tied.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Top 5 quarterbacks.
Told you I was ready for this last week already. So, at number 5, I've got Dan Marino. At number 4, I've got Drew Brees. Number 3, I've got Peyton Manning. Or Painting Manning. I don't know if you've seen that commercial or not.
Yeah.
Number 2, I've got Joe Montana. And at number 1, I've got Tom Brady. Now, it's funny, we were talking about Peyton Manning last week and how I hated him. And I thought that now he seemed kind of cool. I was talking to somebody, I was telling them that story, and they had said that they had actually met Peyton Manning, and they said he's an absolute dick. So.
Really?
Yeah, they said he was an absolute dick. They said he was yelling at a 12-year-old and saying something about, do you know who I am, and stuff like that. So I'm back to hating him.
Man, I can't see that. He just don't even seem like that type of person.
Well, I hate him.
I don't blame you. All right. So I went back and forth with my number 5.
Okay.
This was tough. But number 5, I got Warren Moon.
Okay.
Number 4, I got Dan Marino.
Yeah.
Number 3, I got John Elway. Number 2, I got Tom Brady. And I got Smoking Joe Montana at number 1.
I thought you were going to say Caleb Williams.
Well, the reason I got Joe Montana at number 1 is because he went 4-0 in the Super Bowl. We give Jordan a lot of praise for being 6-0 in the finals. And I think we should give some of that same praise to Joe Montana. I really do. This was tough, man. I think I could do another top 5, honestly, with quarterbacks. Yeah.
I had I was struggling with John Elway. John Elway and Dan Marino I was going back and forth with. Because with John Elway, I wanted to put that he actually won Super Bowl 2, actually.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when he won them, he wasn't the reason why they won them, though. I mean, it was
TD.
It was Terrell. I mean, it's a team effort. It's always a team effort in the Super Bowl. I guess it's just he wasn't the same quarterback that he was when he was the 4 that he went to before that, if you know what I mean.
Right.
But he was a very good quarterback. So I was going back and forth between him and Dan Marino at 5 and 6. But it's interesting. I'm glad you actually said Warren Moon, because I saw you post earlier this week about who would you rather take, Warren Moon or Randall Cunningham, and I'd actually meant to put some thought into that, because that's an excellent question. I obviously know who you would take now. but I actually want to do a little more digging into that because that is an interesting question. Both were phenomenal quarterbacks, but they were both very different quarterbacks.
Yeah, yes, for sure. Randall Cunningham was the dual threat.
Mm-hmm.
He was the Michael Vick before Vick.
Yeah.
But Warren Moon's arm was, you just could not, man, it was undeniable, man. His arm talent was second to none. I would put his arm talent up against anybody.
Yeah.
So that's the reason that I took him. He was just a pure pocket passer. He could get out the way too. He wasn't a statue back there, but and he won in Canada too. I think he got a few chips up there. So it was Warren Moon for me. But like I said, I went back and forth with it. I was just like, man, I don't think there's a wrong answer there.
Yeah, it was a good comparison. Like I said, when I saw you post it, I was like, ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. But then I didn't go any further into it. But I think I might now that you're saying that, because that is a good comparison. Like I said, they are so different, but they were both fun to watch. Like I said, Warren Moon was a stud.
Yeah,
He was a stud. He did throw a pretty ball, but he put up huge numbers too. The yardage numbers that he put up back in that era were pretty. I would love to see the comparison. If they did, I know they do things where they scale it back to if he was in the modern day, what his numbers would be. I would love to see what that would equate to.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And just to mention, just some other quarterbacks that I was thinking of. Of course, Randall Cunningham and Jim Kelly.
Oh yeah, Jim Kelly's one you never think about. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, man, he was that deal. He went to 4 straight, and lost all 4 of them. But
yeah,
man, that Bills team was something to be reckoned with for sure.
Yeah. See, I was also thinking of like Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, both good. I know they're Green Bay guys, and I hate to go give Green Bay guys any credit, but
yeah,
but they were some good ones. Yeah, that's Jim Kelly is an interesting one. A lot of times when I have a chance to have the whole week to think about who I'm going to pick, I always look up and type in like top 10 quarterbacks of all time just to see what other lists are saying and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But God, I don't know if I saw Jim Kelly's name on there or not. I know I saw Troy Aikman's name on there, which I kind of think Troy Aikman was a little overrated, to be perfectly honest. He's one of those. He
threw a pretty ball.
He did. I'm not saying he was a bum by any means, but to put him on a top 10 list is like, I don't know if he'd fit in there. But most times when I look up the top 10 list too, they include some players that I won't include because I've never seen them play. Like the Roger Staubbags and things like that. Dan Fouts, Joe Namath, things like that, which I never play. So yeah, it's always interesting, but. We had similar quarterbacks. I was interested to see that you didn't have Drew Brees up there anywhere.
Yeah, Drew Brees. That's another one. Like I said, I could do another top 5.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Jim Kelly, Favre. Mahomes is still playing, but he's going to be in there at some point.
I think he's eventually going to definitely be in the top 5 all time.
Yeah, for sure. It's a ton of them. Some people like Big Ben, so.
He was a winner.
Yeah.
Didn't necessarily put up like superstar numbers, but he was a multi-time Pro Bowler. He was a multiple Super Bowl winner, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can support those arguments.
Kurt Warner.
Oh yeah, he was a stud, but it was only for a couple years though. And
Right.
like I know, I mean, longevity does come into play a little bit, but
And that's why that's my issue with Troy Aikman. He really didn't play that long,
yeah,
did he?
I don't know
Did he make it 10 seasons? If
if
he
he did.
did, I don't think he went over 10.
Yeah, like I said, the lifespan in the NFL is not long anyway. They said that the average running back's career is only like 3 years. That's kind of
Yeah.
wild when you think about it.
Yeah.
Let's,
And it's getting smaller because at one point I think it was 4.5 to 5 years.
yeah,
But they don't.
he played 12. Troy Aikman played 12 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he started all 12 years, like he wasn't just sitting around on the bench.
His first year he played 11 games, so I don't know.
Well,
Oh,
I would think it would be towards the end of his career. Did he?
his last year he played 11 games as well.
Hmm.
Other than that, almost every season it was 15, 16, 14,
That doesn't
16,
seem
15.
like he played that long. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. Won what, 4 Super Bowls?
3.
3? Pretty good. Pretty good, but he had a lot of all pro players with him too.
Oh yeah, no doubt. No
But
doubt.
but they kind of built that though. I mean, because when he was drafted, he was the number 1 overall draft pick, which meant they were the worst team. So,
Yeah.
so he helped build that.
Yeah, they wasn't far off from it. I always say this. I don't know if you would agree or disagree, but there's not a big difference between the worst team in the league when it comes to the NFL and the best team in the league. To me, it's not.
No, I agree. I absolutely agree.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I
Any
said,
one of those teams can win.
I always go back to that year the Lions went 0-16. I mean, several of those losses were within 1 score. When you
Yeah,
look at the scores most weeks, most games are decided by 1 score. I mean, when you even look at when I was looking at as we were making our picks, most of the spreads in those games were 1.5, 2, 2.5. I think the highest spread I saw was 5 points. So and that
yeah,
was that was a Kansas City spread. So
yeah.
yeah, I agree.
NFL team, man. Yeah, I mean, a couple of injuries and you look totally different. You miss some offensive line or something like that, something that's important that you really don't pay attention to. Sometimes you got to have a little luck on your side.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just said with Detroit. I mean, come on, 1 point, 2 points. It's
Yeah,
that doesn't mean that the team is bad because you're losing. By 1 or 2 points every week.
right. It's
So
usually
that's
disciplinary things. It's discipline.
discipline.
It's usually like those teams tend to commit more penalties, commit to like breakdowns in coverage, things like that. I mean, the talent's there all throughout the NFL, obviously, but
One
yeah, it's
play. It could
little
be
coaching
one play.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One
So
play can lose you the game, and this is like, oh wow,
yeah.
So there you have it. Okay, I don't think there are any exciting college football games this weekend. I think that we were all this past weekend was it. But
Yeah.
I'm going to take a look real quick. Michigan State and Oregon, Bull, and Michigan, Washington, Texas A&M and Missouri, Ohio
That's a
State,
decent one.
Iowa. Yeah. No, I mean This is just, watch your team because they playing weak.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting week for me because no Lions this week, but hey, maybe I'll be excited that the Tigers are in the next round of the playoffs by then.
Yeah, that's something to look into. You gonna find an NFL game to tune into though.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna watch the London game for sure. I like them when they start playing these London games because when I wake up on Sunday, there's a football game on.
Yeah, it's on. Yeah.
So I'll watch that, and I'll try to watch the Bears, and yeah, I'll sit around all day and watch football. I got no problem with that.
Yeah, like I say, this is my weekend off.
Okay.
So I'm gonna dive in, and then I'll be off next weekend too, because there's a holiday on Friday.
Okay.
I'm sorry, on Thursday, October 10th. That's a holiday.
Okay.
So I'll be tuned. I'll be off that day, and I'm going to wake up and celebrate that holiday, probably with a cocktail in my hand. You got a holiday. You got a holiday coming up here soon as well.
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah. So.
But hey, you ready to wrap this up?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, hey, all our subscribers, thanks for watching. Check us out on social media. Check us out on all the major podcast stations. We're on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon. Share with your friends. Like I said, the best way for this to keep going is for you to share this, encourage them to subscribe too. Like I said, thanks for watching, and until next week.
Oh, yeah. Follow us on Facebook, too. In Between the Lines on Facebook and Instagram.
All right.
All right.